There we go. Short and sweet.
Love it.
We are live. I hope the links are working. I really had some struggles with connecting Facebook and LinkedIn this time. I had to keep reconnecting, so hopefully they stay connected, and we'll just do the best that we can. Let me also put the chat up for anybody who wants to ask questions or comment. Okay, I can see the chat now. We're good. Let me see if this fixes my issue. Yeah, let's do that for a while, and we'll switch it if we get some people chatting.
All right.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. How are you?
I am well. I'm thinking this can be a pretty serious topic for a Friday before a weekend, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it could be fun too.
I think that money interacts with the way that you think about it, the emotion that you have around it. So you can shut yourself off to money. You can be scared about it, or you can enjoy it. And money tends to be attracted to those that tend to feel good and happy about it and excited about it. So
yeah. So that's perfect statement into the question I want to ask, because I have a workshop called "What's Your Relationship with Money?" And that's it. Like, do you ignore money? If you treated money like a person, are you ignoring that person? Are you having fun with that person? Are you holding on too tight to that person? Right?
Yep.
It's an interesting workshop. So my question for you, Chris, if you're looking at money as a person, what kind of personality traits do you think money would have?
Well, I mean, it's easy to say that money would be pragmatic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's just black and white, drawn in the sand, value, no value, right? But I would also say that money is also resilient. It keeps coming back. It's never gone forever. And then it's also kind of that it can have that perpetual feel to it as well, where it's just constantly going and going and going and changing and adjusting. And so I think that money would be a pragmatic, resilient, perpetual person, in my opinion.
I love it. And so I'm going to add one. I think if you treat money well, it's very loyal.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, if you're good to money, money will be good to you.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement.
Yep. Cool. So, and I'm not judging anybody because I've been there. So I'll say I've walked in these shoes. I don't walk in these shoes anymore. A lot of people, I say, ostrich around money, right? Put their head in the sand around money. And again, I'm not judging. However, how do you think we get there? What do you why do you think some people ostrich around money?
What do you think is the feeling that drives people to ostrich?
Yeah, you're going to ask a question with a question. Well, one of the things I think is we're not taught as kids, or maybe it wasn't role modeled well. So we really don't know a lot about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about money when I graduated high school. It was not role modeled to me, it wasn't taught to me. So it was kind of like, I don't know what I don't know. So I don't even want to, I want to give myself grace. Like, I didn't just ostrich. I didn't even know I was supposed to be looking at it.
Mm-hmm. When in life, when do you typically ostrich about something?
Oh, how about prior to me being a coach ostrich? When in life do I typically ostrich around something?
Yeah.
Well, if I don't know anything about it, or if it's scary.
If it's scary,
Yep.
and you don't know
Yep.
much about it.
Yep. What about you? Hey, Rachel. And you can answer the question too, Rachel, anytime you want to put it in the chat. So, Christopher, for you, you ask the same question for yourself.
When do I ostrich? I try not to ostrich.
Oh, yeah. Well, me neither, but I have ostrich. Prior to you being a professional, badass businessman, have you ostriched around money?
Not around money, but I have ostriched around frustrations with where I was professionally.
Yeah.
kind of, I would call it blind faith in the powers that be for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Not really paid attention to any sort of professional drift that was occurring. And that's the only place I would say I've ostriched before.
Yeah. 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 Well, some people, and again, when I say some people, I'm only going to call it out if I've been there. Maybe it's blind faith. Maybe it's like, I hope things will get better, and I just ignore it in hopes that it'll get better. And
Yep.
sure, sometimes it does. However, if it's in our control to change it, then there's more guarantee.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
all of those things that you just described, that's why people ostrich with money. Because they either don't know what's going on and they don't know how to fix it. They feel like they don't have any power or ability to change their situation, or they feel like their situation is so far gone that they might as well just ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's ultimately people ostrich because they don't feel like they have any power.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, you have power over your money no matter what. You have the power to go make money, and you have the power to change any financial situation that you are in. The only thing that gives you zero power is to ostrich.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
ostrich because they feel like they have no power, and the only thing that makes them have no power is ostriching. So it's a negative cycle that just keeps
Right.
your head in the sand.
Right. And then it becomes a habit. The
Yeah.
ostriching becomes a habit. And I know you're phenomenal about training people about habits. So a couple of examples, I have a client who really wants to be a professional business person, and money is going to be one of the biggest things to change this year.
Okay.
And in all of their lives of being a business owner, they have never separated their money. Like their credit card, one credit card, personal and business, one checking account, personal and business. And that person has done it that way for probably 25 years. However, that's not how we're going to continue doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just lack of learning, and then it becomes a habit. Now it's scary to change. After 25 years of doing it one way, it's like, well, that's kind of scary. I mean, and of course I asked, what's the fear? But now it's become a habit to always just combine everything. And I know that's not the right way to do it.
Yeah. So, but let me ask you this question. Has what this person has been doing, has that worked for them?
Well, they're paying their bills.
They're paying their bills.
But he doesn't know how much money he's making or saving.
Okay. So the answer would be that
He's comfortable.
It's made him comfortable, and survival has been done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But goals have not been reached, or awareness has not been, like, what's the goal?
Well, and that's the other thing. Up until now, there never has been one.
Okay.
Well, maybe there's been a business goal to, how many lawns I mow or landscape, or how many houses I sell, right? Or how many insurance policies I sell. But they've never gone beyond, then equated that to how much money I'm going to make, which saddens me, but that's going to change too. Not everybody, that's the ostriching on the money piece.
Yeah. And so the powerful thing that I heard there is there's no vision. People follow two things, passion and vision.
Right.
You have to know where you're going, and you have to be enthusiastic about it. If you're not creating a vision, how are you yourself supposed to follow that vision and get excited and passionate about it?
And stick to it.
Yeah.
Because you could do it for a few days.
It's true.
Right. And then it kind of wears off because the passion and the excitement's not there.
Yeah. No, you should look at your whatever you want to call it, your vision board, your goal sheet, your X, Y, or Z. But you should look at that every single day. It should drive you towards wherever you want to get to. And if you're running, or if, let's say this, if you're driving in fog, you're not going to drive very fast because you don't know what's coming up.
Right.
But if you're driving through crystal clear air, you're going to be able to step on the gas and go as fast as you want to go because you can see exactly what's coming up.
Yep. So I'm going to brag on Rachel for a minute. So Rachel, I'm bragging on you because this year you have a crystal clear vision. So I'm bragging on her for a minute because I know she has a crystal clear vision. She's not running her business in fog for 2025.
There you go.
There you go.
That's what you need.
Now her speed is going to be her speed.
Yeah.
Right.
The second thing is the habits that you're going to set up, right? So, for someone that doesn't have a business account set up, hasn't ever made, focused business goals, doesn't have a plan of how much they're spending and how much they need to bring in, that person is not equating their business success to what they're creating in their life. And if I was to ask you this question, Tanya, how much money do you want to make this year on the personal side? Right? Not in your business, because there's business expenses and stuff like that. How much do you want to actually,
like you're saying, net?
Your accounts? Yeah. How much do you want to put into your accounts? What do you want your net to be?
150,000.
Okay. Why did you say 150,000?
Because you just put me on the spot.
Okay. Why didn't you say 300,000? Why didn't I say 600,000?
Well, that would be for 2026. I'm all in.
So you're not all in this year?
I am all in. So now, okay. So I'm going to change my goal. I want a net 300,000.
Okay. Yeah. So here's the funny thing, though. We tend to give ourselves limiting beliefs around money. And part of ostriching is that
not Rachel. Hold on, not Rachel. She just said 1 billion.
1 billion. There you go. That should, and I know that people are going to be like, "Oh, this isn't realistic." But here's the thing: there should be no upper limit. Yeah. There should be no upper limit to your goal. Now there should be a vision.
I'm going to give you just a little bit of pushback, just a little bit, because I totally agree with that. Hanya says, London says hi.
Hi.
I totally agree that, I don't want to put a limit on what I make. I'm going to take the should out of it. I don't want there to be a limit. And I also want to set some, and maybe it's the phase of life I'm in. If I was 35, I'd say 1 billion, Rachel, for sure. And I would do everything I can to get there. At my age, at the 60 plus age, I also want to be grandma. I want to be able to take my granddaughter to the park or my granddaughter to swimming lessons. I don't want to set limits around my money. However, I also want to have some other parts of my life where I'm not working.
So I didn't say anything about how many hours.
I know.
And here's the funny part, though. Let me throw this out there, Tanya.
Okay.
Your upper limit, it could be whatever you want it to be. But the only limit we should set should be the lower limit, because that's the minimum standard.
Okay, then I'm going to rephrase it. My minimum is to net 150.
There you go.
There you go.
There's no upper limit. And that's the way that people think, though, about money. And that's where people get stuck, because people think I can only make, you give yourself your own glass ceiling.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
Rather than giving yourself the solid cement to jump off of. And how high you go, that's based on how high you think you can go.
Yeah, I agree. So now, Rachel, I am holding myself accountable to changing everybody I coach to that, whatever they gave me their goal as is to be the minimum. And they need to write it on their goal plan. The minimum I am going to make. So the minimum that Rachel's going to make is 1 billion.
There you go. Because here's the thing.
She shares.
But if you put out there that you wanted to bring in 150,000 and you miss that goal, what happens?
Well, some people are going to feel like crap.
Well, you made less than 150,000. But if you said, no matter what, I'm going to make 150,000, and then you shoot for the stars past that, the worst case scenario, you made 150,000.
Well, then that's a win. Yeah, I wouldn't feel bad about it. No, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the way that we interact. Love it. Love it, Rachel. But that's the way that we interact with money in all different aspects.
Yeah.
When it comes to ostriching, we are putting the maximum far too low, and we're giving far too much credit to our problems.
Oh, I agree on that 100%. I'll totally put 2 exclamation points after putting too much credit on our problems and excuses, for sure. Yeah.
Have you read The Untethered Soul?
Yes.
I'm listening to it right now.
Great book. Yep, it's a great book. I've read it. I have not listened to it, but it's a great book.
Yeah. What would you say is your biggest takeaway from that book?
I think that's when I really started connecting with the universe and talking to the universe. I talk to my 108-year-old self a lot.
Nice.
But I go out, but putting my goals and my wants and all of that out there into the universe, and yeah, I'll put a period on that sentence. But yes, it changed a lot of things around that. It is a good book. I would love to read that again. I might even make that part of my clients' book list. But you know what our book we're reading for January?
Atomic Habits.
I did not. Nope.
Dang it.
We have read Atomic Habits, and we did the 12-week year, and we failed miserably as a group doing the 12-week year, right, Rachel? 12-week year was not a success for us, and we're just going to admit the failure. We're going to do it again, and we'll be better at it. You recommended it.
The Wealthy Gardener?
Nope.
Psychology of Money?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. And obviously I don't want anybody to feel bad or that we failed. We did. We failed as a group doing the 12-week year. We're going to do it better. I learned on how to coach it better as a group. But yes, the Psychology of Money is our January, because we're not reading a book in December. We took a break from reading in December. A lot of my clients are doing client parties and all that kind of stuff right now. So we took a break from the book stuff and podcasting. And yes, the Psychology of Money is our book of the month for January.
Nice.
Which coincides with my workshop. So I will invite you to the workshop, just if you just want to come for fun.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, there's a lot of coaching to be had around all of this.
There is.
Yep. So before we stop today, I've got a couple more questions. Can you share one habit that you can advise everybody to do that would have an impact on their finances for 2025? I know there's more than one, but what would be one step?
Automatic saving. Put your saving on automatic right away. Have something happening that's putting money somewhere that you're not going to access it. You're not going to touch it, and you're going to let it grow.
Yep.
And have it be automatic. Have it be the first thing that happens when your commission check comes in, or have it be an automatic transfer that you have set up at a specific day on the month every single time.
Yep. And I was going to say the same thing. So I was going to word it a little differently, but yes. So for my business owners, when they get a paycheck, because as business owners, we don't have the same amount of money every month. Most business owners don't, right? So there's a percentage to be put away, not a specific dollar amount. It's a percentage. And I encourage them to always put a percentage, be it 20%, 25%, 30%, whatever that is, for taxes, because most business owners don't have taxes taken out of their check. Mm-hmm. And then what percentage of your paycheck are you putting into your checking account, savings account? And of course, there's other buckets too. And I don't want to go into that. That's a whole coach call. But yes, have that be automatic if you can by percentage. Otherwise, you've got to be disciplined to go in and do it.
You know what's funny though? I would still say to give yourself a minimum standard on that, right? So it's
Yep.
like, I'm going to put 20% away, but regardless of how much I bring in, I will no matter what put X amount away.
Sure.
And
I'm
what
good with
that
that.
does, the idea behind that is it challenges you that if you, let's say you have a closing and your goal is $1,000 and 20% is not going to cut it. Well, then, okay, if that's your goal, go out and get another closing so that you can make sure that that month you put that much amount of money away.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I think that one of my favorite quotes is, you don't go to work on your goals go to work on you. And if you set your goals super duper low and give yourself excuses, they're not working on you. But if you set your goals firmly in the sand or firmly in the carved into rocks or whatever you want to say, that those are going to go to work on you, and they're going to make you figure out a way that you can hold yourself to that minimum standard.
Yeah. Well, I'll give an example. So we're going to go outside of money. I do have my savings. I mean, I automatically save X amount of money every month. And most months I save more. Not all months. Sometimes, grandkids happen and I love spoiling them. 99% of the time I do more than what my committed savings is every single month. And that you have access to as my financial planner to see that, but I'm super consistent with saving with my goals. But one of the biggest things around goals is like my health goal. It's just like now there's a line in the sand, and my goal, I'm not struggling with reaching health goals. I'm not saying they're always fun. Some days are harder than others. I don't want to pretend that it's easy, but the commitment is there.
It's true.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference. And that's your minimum. Like, you're not going to drop below it, right?
Right. Right. And I don't expect to be perfect.
You don't have to be.
Nope. But it's nice when I am. It's
Yeah.
nice when there's like 3 days in a row of perfection. However, there's days where there's not either, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
There's more great, and I don't even want to say perfect days. There are a lot of good days. And then there's some days where it's like, okay, that half a cupcake looks really good, but it's half, not the whole. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and perfection is not the goal. Falling in love with the process is the goal.
Right. And that's what's happening. Sure. So it happens with money too, right? It can happen with a health goal. It can happen with a money goal. Is like you can change the habit, stop ostriching, really take control of something that feels scary, and then you can really start enjoying the process.
Yep. Exactly. And then the process starts to work on you, and you're like, man, I wish I could do this twice. And then you're like, well, maybe I should set a new minimum standard. And
Yeah.
it really starts to build on that. So,
Yeah. Yes. And I love the fact that, like, when I first started consistently saving, it was like maybe $1,000 a month. I'm like, well, this is really cool. But what if I did double? Right.
yeah.
And then it just starts to snowball. Right. And it becomes fun. And you know me, I'm competitive. So I compete myself. Hey, Joanna.
I can
Yeah,
give
it's just
a
fun.
fun example. Not everybody knows this, but my wife and I, we have someone that rents out the bottom bedroom of our house. And when we set it up, we've had this person for a long time now. When we set it up, we created a separate bank account. We have the money pay straight into that he pays us for rent. And then we have a transference of that money into our account that we pay our mortgage from. However, we withheld a certain amount. So we didn't transfer the entire amount. Over the time that he's been with us, that account just continues to grow. It's
Right.
automatic savings. And it's
Yep.
automatic savings for when we don't have a roommate, or it's automatic savings for all these different things that could come up, but it just continues to build automatically. And when you go back and you look at it and you're like, wow, that's thousands of dollars now,
Yep.
you really feel impressed with that little amount has turned into a large amount. And it's because it just is automatically continuously going on.
Right.
So you can surprise yourself.
Right. And it's being patient to wait for that time, right? It's not, didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like a 3-month fix or a 1-month fix. It happened over the course of years.
Yep.
But it's cool after that. You look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
yeah. It's kind of
that would
like
be
the
my
compound
biggest
effect.
It is, especially when it's in like a high return environment. So
Exactly. Okay, so up to you, Rachel, up to you, Joanna, if you want to put a goal or a habit that you want to adopt for 2025 or starting now around money, like automatic savings or following a budget. We'd love to see it. Or if you have any questions for Chris before we end our half hour, or for me, go for it. I'll keep an eye on the chat, but I'd love to have you share and put out in the universe what habit you might want to change and embrace around money, or if you have a question. Otherwise, I'm gonna end and ask Chris to think about it. Do you have a favorite podcast and or a favorite money app? Either one or both.
I'm just waiting to see if the questions are.
I know,
if there are
I'm
any
waiting
questions
too.
right
I
now.
don't see
Yeah.
any. It's okay. I know
Okay.
money's a big deal. Yeah.
All right. Favorite podcast. Oh, there you go.
Thank you, Rachel. Awesome.
Love it.
Yep. Those are 2 of them. That's awesome.
So, favorite podcast. I've given my favorite podcast before, I'm pretty sure, which is Mind Your Own Business or Mind Your Business. Sorry, the Mind Your Business podcast.
How come I didn't know that? I was waiting for you to say a few other ones. So I don't know that I have that one. I'm looking.
I've told you that one before.
God, I must have ignored you.
Maybe that happens every now and then.
That happens sometimes. Okay, I'm finding it.
And then I'm looking on I have another one. Building championship mindsets. That's another one. It's not a money one, but it's a motivational one.
Let me look at that one. Say that one again.
Building championship mindsets.
I actually had the other one in my library. I just hadn't listened to it in a long time. So now I'm back to listening to it again.
Cool.
One of the things one of my goals this year was to be on a podcast a month. And so I've hit that goal for 2024. I have guested on someone's podcast once a month.
Nice. There you go.
It's been so fun. So now I got to go reach out to some of these people and see if they'll consider me as a guest. You have to go through the interview process. Yeah. Lots of paperwork, interviewing. You have a meeting before to see if you're going to be a good match. And so, yeah, I've gotten some no's, but most of them have been yeses. It's been really fun. Go. Yeah. Yeah. So that I'm going to encourage you to get on some guesting podcasts, Chris. You'd be really good at it.
Okay. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I can give you tips on how to start and have a cover letter and and how to find them, how to get the contact information from the podcast host. So it takes a little bit of effort and time, but once you start getting in a rhythm of it, create an Excel spreadsheet, you're off to the races.
Okay.
See, yeah, Rachel says yes, Chris. Yep.
I have one meeting next week with someone that has a podcast. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first you just want to start Googling some podcasts that you feel, that are in the topics you want to talk about. So Google those topics, you'll find, and then podcasts, you'll find those podcasts, and you need to start researching who runs it, who's the host, and yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Rachel, we've given Chris a goal.
You have.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel, for sharing and commenting. And thank you, Joanna and Chris. Thanks. I'm looking forward to next month's.
Sounds like a plan. Looking
All
forward
right.
to it
Thanks,
too.
everybody. Have a
All right.
great weekend and happy Thanksgiving.
You too. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Bye.